welcome back to a brand new video. For those of you who are new here, my name is Manny and my family is the DMK family. As you read on today's title, today's video is going to be a little bit different. It is going to be more of a story time. This is something I have been wanting to do for the absolute longest, because I know that, like me, there is a lot of girls who have gone through domestic violence, who have gone through teenage pregnancies, who have not known what to do about being pregnant. And the reason why I have held back from posting this video is because I first of all didn't want to kind of share that experience with my daughter being so young and her being kind of like, what are you talking about, you know, like more like confused. I always told myself, since I started this channel, I told you guys I was gonna tell you about everything, and if you haven't seen that video yet, you guys can go look at it somewhere up here on your screen. I was holding back on this video for quite a long time just because, like I said, I wanted to make sure that Kimberly was more understanding and that could kind of understand where I was coming from, because she is turning 13 in literally 3 days from today. Kimberly's birthday is this Friday, so the 3rd, and she's turning 13. I am going to be having a teenager, guys, and that to me is mind-blowing because, for one, I've been thinking of it all month. I met her dad when I was in 8th grade and she is in 8th grade. And I feel like this is something that I've been pushing back for way too long, and I want to talk about with you guys. I am going to do a quick disclaimer. This video is not to throw shade on anyone. Literally nobody in this video I don't want to throw shade on, because I have gone through so much counseling, therapy, everything, you name it, that I have known to be the type of person that doesn't hold grudges. I've just moved on, and I'm honestly good with a lot of the people on here. I'm not good with certain people on here, but I wish the best, and I'm not trying to like dirty their name or anything. I'm just simply telling my side of the story. Am I gonna filter a lot of it? Yes, just because this is YouTube. Something else that has been holding me back from posting this is just, do I really want everybody to know this? Do I really want to tell my story like that? But the answer now is yes. Why? Because one, I want my daughter to look back on this video and to know everything I've been through to give her the life she has today. You have a daughter, for them to know, or if you are young, for you to know that there's always a way out. So I met Kimberly's biological father when I was 14 years old, and when I met him, I was young, I was stupid, I was just, you name it. It was my first everything, my first love, my first everything. And during this time of my life when I was 14, a lot was going on. My grandmother passed away. For those of you who don't know, I don't really know my biological father. To me, my father has been Frank, which is my stepdad, who raised me since I was a little girl. However, when I was 14 years old, my mom and my only dad that I've ever had, Frank, were getting split up or divorced or whatever. So it was a little bit of a weird situation as well. Fast forwarding on everything because I'm not trying to bore you guys. So I was kind of alone. I was alone for a long period of time because my mom was going to school, trying to avoid the house as much as possible because she was going through the whole divorce, which is understandable. But we were bumping heads a lot. I was kind of rebellious at the time. Long story short, me and my mom got into it and she kicked me out of the house. Again, not trying to bash anybody, not trying to bash my mom. This is just what happened. We got into it and she kicked me out of the house. I at the time knew that if I went to a tia's house or anybody, it was gonna create more drama with my mom, si iba a enojar mi mamá, or whatever it was. I at the time had nowhere to go, ended up going to my boyfriend at the time, and well, to his house. His parents were very welcoming, they welcomed me or whatever. And I mean, again, I'm fast forwarding. What do you expect is gonna happen when you send a teenage girl to live with her boyfriend? I wasn't just living there, his parents are very I'm sorry guys, I'm just very like, I feel nervous even telling this story. His parents are very traditional. So I was there, and me being 14 years old, I was washing his clothes, making him lunch. He went to work I think at 5, so I would wake up at 4 in the morning to make him lunch because I didn't even know how to cook. I would just do whatever his mom was doing. But yeah, wash his clothes, take care of him like una mujer de hogar. It was kind of like I didn't want to be at his parents' house anymore, so I would go to my mom's when she would accept me again, and then he would come. It was just a toxic back and forth relationship. We were on and off, and he was very jealous. I mean, he was young, you know. Fast forward to like about a year, I was 15. We had broken up, and I get a call from him maybe 2-3 weeks after the breakup, and he tells me, have you gotten your period yet? And I was just kind of like, again, I was so naive, not thinking anything of it. I was like, no, why? Like, why are you calling me for this? Why does it even concern you? And he was like, because you're pregnant. I was just so like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean I'm pregnant? And he just told me, I got you pregnant. And I was just thrown off with that. I was kind of like, I don't want to go into too much detail. Again, it is YouTube, and I know my daughter's gonna be watching this video, but he told me he had gotten me pregnant without my consent, without me knowing. So I mean, I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know he had gotten me pregnant. So about 2-3 weeks go by, and I completely forget about it, because in my head I'm like, oh, he's just trying to get me back. He just wants us to go back together like we always do. And I remember my mom, she would cook chorizo. She would make the chorizo so I would wake up, because she knows that as soon as I smelled the chorizo, I was up and I was like, oh, what's for breakfast? But the difference is, for the past 2 days, every time she was cooking like the chorizo or anything strong, I was waking up out of bed and running to the restroom. And I think she caught on to that. I was throwing up, but I didn't put one and one together. I didn't really think I was pregnant. I kind of had a suspicion, like was he like not kidding? Was he being serious? But I was still like, whatever, I'm just gonna wait, you know. But my mom pulls me out of bed one day, and she's kind of like, get ready. I was like, for what? She's like, we're gonna go get a pregnancy test. And I guess she knew, like, you know, she just knew. I remember that day I was gonna get the pregnancy test, she called him and she's like, you need to come over because you're gonna go buy this pregnancy test. So he comes over gladly, because we were broken up and he was trying to get back together. So then he buys a pregnancy test, I take it, and it turns out I'm pregnant. And I don't even know what I was thinking at the time. Like, I remember that in my head, I just felt used, and I felt betrayed, and I felt lied to. Like, I felt like it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair for me to have to be a mother and not know that I was going to be a mother at 15. I knew what I was doing, that I was, you know, doing what gets you pregnant, but I thought I was taking care of myself so that I wouldn't end up pregnant. And the way it happened to me is something I haven't told anybody. Well, I mean, I told my husband and stuff, but it's something that I don't think is fair. I don't think it's fair to just go and get somebody pregnant without them knowing. The way it happened was just shady. What he did was shady. I don't even know how to go about this. So I just remembered, I sat down, I cried, and I prayed, and I thought, God did this for a reason. If I wasn't supposed to get pregnant, no matter what this human being did to me, I wouldn't have gotten pregnant. If God thought I was capable of getting pregnant and I should be a mother, then who am I to stop God's will? And I'm sorry if you guys don't believe in God, and I'm sorry, but this is just what I believe. I believe everything happens for a reason, and God has a way for everything. So I remember my mom was just blown, like mind blown, when she seen the pregnancy test, and that was 2. And at the moment, I didn't want to tell my mom, like, hey, like, he got me pregnant without me knowing. I was just quiet. I went into a shock. I went into like, I hate this guy, I want to choke this guy. But I didn't want my mom to know, because then what was I gonna hear? Estás pendeja, you were the one who was, yeah. So I just kind of went along with him. My mom took me to the doctors. They did a pregnancy test, and I remember as soon as they did the pregnancy test, that same day at the hospital, they made my mom and him step out of the room, and somebody came in and they asked me questions, and they said, were you raped? And I said no, because I wasn't raped. It was willingly. I just didn't know what he was up to. They did tell me there's other ways. If you don't want to have this baby, you don't have to have this baby. You can get rid of it now. It's not too late. And I just remember thinking, no, I'm not going to stop alive. If I need to be pregnant, then I'm gonna be pregnant, and I'm gonna figure it out. No matter what happens, I'm gonna figure it out. Because I had been crying when I was 14 and my mom kicked me out and I had to live at his house. There was so many things that I'm not naming to you guys, but I felt in my head like I've already gone through so much, and if I figure that out, I can figure this out. And I knew my family was gonna judge me. I knew everybody, my friends' moms, my friends, were not gonna want to even talk to me anymore. But I thought, if my friends don't want to talk to me, they're not really my friends. The people who matter will be there, and the people who don't matter won't be there. I go on about my pregnancy, and like, our parents get together and they try to make the best situation because I'm obviously pregnant. So they try to kind of keep us together, even though we were in a very toxic relationship. And when I mean toxic, I don't just mean like, oh, he's checking my phone. No, I mean he's breaking my phone, I'm breaking his in return. He's throwing my stuff out when he wants me to leave, but then I leave, and then he's stalking me at my friend's house, trying to get me back. Like, the amount of police reports that were filed against this human being, I don't even know how many it was. Like, I would have friends that I would call, I'm like, I need you to come, I need help, and then he would stalk them. Like, he would follow their moms, and their moms would get scared, and I lost so many friends because of him. They weren't able to help me anymore because they were scared. My pregnancy was a very dark, sad pregnancy. I had no friends. I didn't really have anybody to check on me, you know. Like, I didn't even know about, like, oh, let me take pictures of my baby bump, let me have a baby shower, nothing, because I was young. I didn't know about these things. So my mom throws me this little baby shower at my friend's house, the friends I do have left, and it's like 5 people that show up. His family, nobody shows up. He doesn't show up. His mom, his sister, nobody, even though everybody was invited. And I just get like maybe like 5 outfits or whatever I got. It was very little, but in my head it was a lot because I didn't know about these things, you know. Fast forwarding to the moment where Kimberly is born, because I'm trying to tell you guys how it's not just a pregnancy, it goes on, and I want you guys to see that this is not just a sad video. It has a positive outcome, but it takes time. So at 6 months, again, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus or anything, but I end up at the hospital because I might have Kimberly a little bit earlier than expected. So I'm 6 months pregnant and I get hospitalized for 2 weeks. They give me the whole talk about how my baby might not make it because it's too soon if the baby's born. I finally get released after 2 weeks, but I'm put on bed rest, and they're giving me these shots to prevent her from coming early. I think these shots, what they did is they made it so that she wasn't coming at all, because 2 weeks passed from my due date and she wasn't being born. So I finally went to the doctors. I'm like, hey, my baby hasn't been born and it's been 2 weeks. And they're like, oh, we're getting you in a minute, you're gonna have your baby today. I was like, oh, okay. I remember as soon as they told me that, I called her dad. We're not even together at the time. We were broken up once again, but I still wanted him to know, you know, hey, our daughter's being born. I remember that he's like, what do you mean you're having your baby? You don't even sound like you're in pain. And I'm like, well, I'm being admitted, I'm not in pain. But anyway, he shows up like 30 minutes later with a friend. And at the time, I'm walking around the hospital. I'm sure you guys have seen it when you're like, when you're getting induced and they make you walk so that like it could induce your labor or whatever it is. So when he gets there with his friends, like, you're such a liar, you lied about you having your baby, you made me come all the way over here walking around the hospital like nothing. And I'm trying to explain to him, well, the doctor is making me walk around. I try to explain what's going on, but he keeps cutting me off. And he's kind of like, well, look, if you don't have money for me to give to my friend because he took me all the way over here, I need gas money, then I'm gonna leave. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was like pregnant. I got so emotional and I just started crying. In my head, I was thinking, like, why would he even tell me that? Like, why would he not want to be here? Like, why would he even think that I have money? Just so many things were going through my head and I couldn't express my feelings at the time, so I started crying. And my mom was walking with me at the time, and she seen me that I started crying, and I think she just kind of like got upset that I started crying. So she got really mad and she's like, well, look, nobody has money for you. If you don't want to be here, nobody wants you here, you can leave. And he was like, well, fine, I'm gonna leave. So then he left, and just like that, he didn't say bye, nothing. He knows like, that my mom was right. She should have kicked him out for treating me that way, but in my head I'm thinking, I want my baby's father to be here when she's born. So then I start crying even more, and I'm not telling my mom what's going on, but in my head I'm just like, I want him to be here. And I texted him and I was kind of like, why would he leave? So the problem with us is, I'm not gonna go through all of the domestic violence we went through while I was pregnant. Have put them behind me because I felt stupid for them, to be honest. Why do I feel so stupid? Because I kept taking him back. After everything that happened, I kept taking him back. There's just two situations that I'm gonna tell you guys about, because it's something that like was an eye-opener for me. Like, girl, like, if you don't stop taking this guy back, what is gonna happen to you and your daughter? And that's the only reason why I'm gonna tell you guys about it, because I don't think this, I'm not here to bash on him. I'm here just to inform you guys that this is real. It happens all the time, and it is okay to speak about it, to get help. I think I talked to his mom, or my mom talked to his mom, and she's like, puedes creer que se fue? And then his parents were like, what do you mean he left? We're gonna go get him, and we're gonna make sure he's there. So in that, I can give props to them, because wherever he was at, fueron por él y lo trajeron, and he was at the hospital after that. My deal was like 4 or 5 hours later, because my inducing with Kimmy went on forever. So I went in 6 p.m. one night. I went in 5 p.m. actually one night, and then I had her the next day at 3 p.m. It's still a lot of hours, but anyway, he showed up 5 hours later, and he was just there mad. Like, he wasn't even like, ¿Cómo estás? or anything. He was just there like, I'm just here because I was forced to be here. But in my head, I'm like, he's still here, he's still gonna witness her being born, and that's what matters. Because again, I was dumb and naive, and the moment she was born, so me giving birth to Kimberly was hard. Like, me being pregnant was hard. I was barely able to keep her in. I was so skinny. For those who know me, I was like a twig. My delivery was so difficult. I kept on fainting during it. I kept on throwing up during it. I don't even know how she came out. Like, it was a natural birth, but like, I don't remember half of it. I kept on fainting. Anyway, she was born, and at that moment I knew that that little girl was gonna be my rock. That because of her, I was going to be somebody. I was gonna change my life. And I thought, because it's weird, you know how now they let somebody stay with you in the hospital after you have a kid? Nobody was able to stay with me. They were observing me, so nobody stayed except for me and her. And I remember crying like, dude, I don't even know how to carry a baby. I don't know how to change a baby. I know it's sad, but the only thing I kept thinking was like, think of how you used to play with your dolls. How did you used to change your dolls? That's what I was thinking. Like, I was so young. My mom wasn't able to stay. He wasn't able to stay. I was by myself with a baby. And all night I stared at her and I thought, I'm gonna change everything because of her. I end up not living with him at all anymore because it was very toxic to have a baby around. So then I live with my mom. So fast forward, Kimberly was about 6 months, I think, about 6 months. I was 16 16 at the time now. So she was born on the 3rd of September. My birthday is the 18th of September. So by the time that Kimmy was 6 months, yeah, tenía, like I was 16 or so. However, I had been seeing conversations of him talking to other girls, being with other girls. So I thought in my head, I'm just gonna focus on me. I'm gonna be a mother and I'm still gonna live my life, you know? So I remember that I had been going through a lot of depression. I was really sad, and my mom told me, she's like, go out, go with your friends, I'll take care of the baby for you. So then I remember that I went out that night and I ended up bumping into him at the club. Like, the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is one of the police reports that really sticks out, that made me think like, so I end up going to the club with my friend and I end up bumping into him. Mind you, this club is like a club for 18 and younger, like, you know, a little club. I end up bumping into him at the door, and in front of everyone he starts going off about, you're just calling me names, telling me I'm not a fit mom because I'm out partying and I shouldn't be there, I should be home taking care of the baby. And this is a time that I don't know if it's because I was embarrassed because I was in front of so many people that I talked back, and I was like, where are you at? Why aren't you at home with your daughter? Don't come at me for not being home with my daughter when you're not at home with your daughter. And he got so offended. He was like, how dare you, like, you know, like, you embarrassed me in front of everyone. But I was embarrassed myself, so I really thought like, I'm gonna be strong, I'm not gonna let anybody see me, you know, weak or anything. I still went in and to the club, and I wasn't even comfortable. You know that time when you're not even comfortable, you're just kind of like, eh. But I was still there because I was like, no, if he's here, why can't I be here? And mind you, this was not planned. I wasn't like stalking him or anything. There was not really social media at the time. I mean, there was, but there was MySpace and nobody really knew. There was no Snapchat or anything. Like, I didn't even know he was gonna be there. It's just there wasn't many clubs that were 18 and younger, so we ended up going to the same one. Then he was just like harassing me the whole time, you know, like, you need to go home. And I remember that he tried dragging me, like he tried pulling me out of the club in front of everybody, and I was just so embarrassed, but I was trying to stand my ground, and I was like, leave me alone, you know, whatever. So the security there came up to him, and they were kind of like, sir, you need to leave. And they're like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, we just seen you put your hands on this female, you need to go home. And he got really offended, and he was like, if I'm going, she's coming with me, blah 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 blah. Felt so, I don't know how to explain it, like I felt very brave because I knew there was people there and he wouldn't be able to hurt me. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere with you. He was giving them a really hard time, so they told him that he didn't leave, they were gonna call the police on him, so he ended up leaving. Mind you, as he left, he kept on calling and calling and calling my phone, telling me, you have 10 minutes to leave that place, or if not, you're gonna regret it. I'm like, whatever, I ignored him. And then like maybe 30 minutes later, I get a call from him, and he's like, I told you were gonna regret it, you should have gone home when I asked you. And I was like, what is he talking about? You know, I just ignored him. I don't know if it was a text message or a call, I don't remember. But then my mom calls me like 10 minutes after that, and I was like, maybe he's on my mom's, you know, whatever. So I answer the phone, I go outside, and mom was like, Mimi, you need to come home now. And I was like, what's wrong? And she's like, our house is on fire. Guys, when I tell you I'm not trying to like throw shade, I'm really not. But this is an example of, you let a little thing go by and then it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger. He had so much control over me that he didn't know what to do with himself when he didn't have that control. I lived in Meza at the time, so he drove from Phoenix to Meza with his friend and grabbed like a sabana. He lit my mom's car on fire, and we lived in a mobile home, so the whole rooftop got on fire. Mind you, it's a mobile home, you guys know how tiny they are. My daughter was in the home, he knew she was in the home, and he didn't care. He still put the place on fire. So that to me right there was very scary. I was kind of like, dude, he could have killed my baby. He could have killed my mom. I don't remember if a neighbor saw him or how it happened, but the thing is that the police and the fire department got called. Thankfully, the police or the fire department was able to put out the fire on time and nobody was harmed. But the car was ruined. Everything was ruined, guys. In my head, I thought, like, what am I doing? Like, I allowed this monster into my family's life. Like, that is me. That is my bad. So I was done with him. I was like, no, I can't no more. Like, my baby could have died because of him. Fast forward, I'm living with my mom and her new boyfriend, and I know it sounds a little weird. I'm not trying to throw anybody's business out there, but my stepdad was still living at the house at the time. So everything was very weird. It was a weird situation. My mom's new boyfriend and I didn't get along at all. Kimberly was like 7 months at the time, I think now. Incident happened where we got into it, my mom's boyfriend and I. Kimberly's, I'm trying to sum it up because I'm not trying to perjudicar a nadie. I'm just telling you guys a story. Kimberly was in a car seat. I had just gotten home and we got into it, and my mom's boyfriend accidentally, or I don't know, ended up pushing her from the little steps to get into the mobile home. And yeah, they're not high, but it's still like 4 steps, and she rolled. And I, of course, went off. I pushed him, he pushed me. Long story short, the police were called and I was removed from the home. Because of that incident, I ended up in CPS. I was in CPS in a shelter for, I think, 2 days without Kimberly. And I was going crazy because I was thinking, like, where's my daughter? What's going on? And I remember them telling me, you have to wait here until family accepts you because you can't go back to your parents. And I'm just thinking, like, how did this happen? Like, how is it that I don't have a baby daddy, I don't have my mom, I don't have anybody, I'm just alone. They finally tell me, like, hey, you have a foster family who wants to take you in, you and Kimberly, you'll finally be reunited with her. And I was so happy that I was gonna get her back. But I was sad, like, what do you mean I'm not gonna go back home? So anyway, I end up getting picked up by a caseworker. They take me to these people's home. I finally get reunited with Kimberly, and I'm happy. But they tell me I'm gonna have to be living at these foster parents with my daughter. Me and my daughter are in CPS custody now. And these were the darkest years of my life. I had been split up from everything I knew. I couldn't see my mom, I couldn't see my sister, I couldn't see anybody. I couldn't even see my baby daddy because he had now a record. So it was just me. I was raised in a Mexican culture, a Hispanic culture, and now it's just something so different. It's like they plucked me out of my lifestyle and threw me somewhere else. They were a different religion, they were a different everything. Again, these people are wonderful and I owe them so much, but it was just, I didn't want to be there. I wanted my life back. Like, my calls were supervised, everything was supervised. I'm trying to make this as short as I can. So I'm trying to, like, skip through everything. But I thought about taking my life several times. I got hospitalized once because I took too much NyQuil. And I remember that when I got out, I was just like, what did I do? Like, I'm a mom now. I was 16 still. So I was young, but I was a mom. And I remember I just didn't want to live. I just didn't want to be anything. And Kimberly kept saying, she is the reason why I am alive today, because without her I would not be here. I went through drama with my mom, went through drama with him, and I finally, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys a whole CPS story. I ended up being there for quite some time. These kind of things people don't know. Like, I was in CPS. I didn't have this glorified lifestyle like a lot of people think. And I'm letting you guys know because I want you guys to know that no matter what you are going through right now, I want you to know it gets easier. Like, you always have to think of the positives, and that's something I didn't do at the time. It's something that I didn't know, like, what positives do I have? But the positives was that I was alive, my daughter was alive, we were healthy. I went through so much counseling that it helped me overcome a lot of these dark things that were hurting me. I was molested as a kid, and I think that's what was making me so angry at my mom. I had anger built up towards her. I had so much anger built up towards everyone. It wasn't my mom's fault that I was molested. I didn't know how to cope with that. And now I do. And now I know that it was okay for me to speak out. And that's why I'm speaking out now, because I want you guys to know that there's always a way. Finally, I end up getting out of CPS when I am 18. Mind you, when I was in CPS, I ended up going back to Kimberly's biological father because I was lonely. He was honestly the only one they were letting me talk to because it was supervised, because I wasn't allowed to talk to my mom. So yeah, that's what happened. Domestic violence is not just he hits me or I hit him. It hurts in words as well. I remember at the time I didn't have papers, I was illegal, and he was kind of like, if you ever leave me, you're gonna get deported. I'm gonna make sure you get deported, or you won't have a job, or what will you do? If you ever try to file for child support, you'll never see me again. You'll never see her again. It was a lot of me having that inner fear. Just kind of like, well, I kind of have to be with him. Thanks to my foster parents and thanks to me being in CPS, I ended up getting my papers. I ended up becoming a resident. So when I tell you guys that we always have to see the brightness out of it, that's the brightness. Yes, it was a horrible time in my life, but I got papers because of it. Like, I wouldn't have papers if it wasn't because of it. I wouldn't be able to get a job with the baby. I wouldn't be able to financially take care of her if it wasn't because of my papers. As soon as I got my papers, I started working. Like, literally, I had 2 jobs just to take care of her. Like, what I'm trying to tell you is always, always, always look at the positives. There's always a positive of what happened. There's always a positive of what's currently happening. You just have to focus on that positive, because that positive is what's gonna keep you going. I'm finally 18, so I don't have to be in CPS anymore. And I am working, I have a job, and I remember that I was living with him again. I was living with her dad. At the time, like, I didn't really want to be with him anymore. That I kind of like was so, I was just kind of scared of all the threats, because yeah, I was smarter and older, but I was still very, that was my first everything. I didn't know anything. Again, I'm fast forwarding so that you guys could kind of like catch up to what the second situation was. So it's Valentine's Day and I'm 18 years old. I am having to stay, I worked retail, so I had to stay to work until 11. And then he picked me up from work, and I remember that the security guards came and told me at work, hey, your husband's here. I was like, husband? Like, we're leaving together. The security guard actually tells me, yeah, he's actually been here a few times and he asks about you and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he's here for you. I was like, what do you mean he's been here a few times? Like, what? And they're like, yeah, he comes here and he looks at your work and blah, blah, blah. So I'm kind of already like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, these people even know about him. Like, that's creepy. So then he shows up and it's Valentine's Day, and I don't get off until like 11:30ish. I go home, and I remember that night he's, you know, trying to have a romantic Valentine's Day, if you know what I mean. And I'm not having it because I'm tired. I've been working since like 8 in the morning, but because I don't have a car, I had to take 2 buses to get there. So I took off like at 6 in the morning. So I'm tired and I'm just not feeling it. So I fall asleep. We would sleep in his parents' living room. So it's his parents' living room and we sleep there, and he's trying to have a romantic Valentine's Day. Our Kimberly sleeps on a little baby bed in the living room as well. The next morning he was kind of upset that we didn't have a romantic Valentine's Day, so he's trying to have a romantic morning, and I'm just not feeling it. I'm just kind of like, I guess I'm just a little upset that he got mad at me the night before and didn't understand that I was tired, and then I was upset at the whole like him stalking me, because it wasn't the first time he had stalked me. He got so upset that we didn't do anything that he started hitting me in the bed. I remember that he put a pillow over my face. Let me just tell you, this is not the first time I had gotten beaten with a pillow over my face so that I won't bruise. I had told him about the situation that had happened to me when I was younger, that how it had traumatized me, and he decided to do the same thing to me. He put a pillow over my face and just started punching me. I just screamed. I screamed for help. I didn't know what else to do. And I remember his mom ran, and I thought, gracias, Dios mío, gracias. His mom ran to the living room and she grabbed the baby. And I remember that when his mom ran, he took the pillow off of my face. She grabbed the baby and he let me go, and I thought, okay, we're good. And I tried getting up fastly, and he pulled my hair back into the bed and started hitting me again. Only this time there was no pillow because he had just pulled me back, so I was actually getting damaged. And I remember screaming like, Señora, ayúdeme, ayúdeme. And these words are what marked me forever. And this is the reason why I thought I need to get out of here. I asked her for help, and she told me, mija, mejor déjate. Entre más te mueves, más te va a golpear. And I remember literally, guys, I was getting hit at the moment, and I was not even there anymore. In my head, I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, did she really just tell me that with my baby in her arms to just let him hit me so that it won't hurt as bad? I just got into like self-defense mode, and I remember I bit the crap out of him. I bit him and I kicked him, and in my head I was like, I'm just gonna get out. I'm not gonna even get my baby, because I knew he wasn't gonna hurt my baby. The baby was with his mom. I just needed help so that that help can help me get that baby, because I knew if I tried to stay there to get my baby, I was never gonna get out. Thankfully, he lived across the street from an elementary school. I ran in there full of blood, just hair everywhere, at an elementary school in the front office. And I just remember saying, help me, call the police, I need help, help, help. I stayed there until the police arrived. They did not let me leave. Once the police arrived, I just remember screaming, I need my baby, I need my baby. The police went, he got arrested, and I was able to get my baby. That day, I remember they drove me, they took all my stuff to my mom's house. And I remember I didn't want to be a burden to my mom. And I thought in my head, I'm gonna get a place to stay in 2 weeks. That's it. I'm giving myself 2 weeks. And I did. At 18 years old, I had my own place, my own car, everything, because I thought I'm never, ever going to go back to that. And ever since that day, I never went back. He would literally stalk me. He used to jump the window from my washer into my house. I put a restraining order on him. He would break it, but I never went back to him. And again, this is not a like pity story. This whole story is to show you guys, one, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be the woman I am today. I wouldn't have had that place. I wouldn't have had that car. I wouldn't have had 2 jobs. I wouldn't have worked so hard if it wasn't for my Kimmy. This is what I mean when I tell you, if God picks you, there's a reason to everything. Anything bad that's happening to you, anything that you're going through, as hard as it may be, just know God has a plan, and it's for a reason. Be safe. Like, if you think you're too young to have a kid, don't be doing things that might get you to have a kid. I think my Kimberly is old enough to know everything I've gone through. And again, I touched just like teeny little surfaces of everything that has happened to me. Like, the list goes on and on and on and on, but I just want you guys to know that I wouldn't be anything without my Kimmy. And I know sometimes she thinks like, oh, you have the twins or you have my brother. I feel like sometimes I don't even show it how important my Kimmy, my firstborn, is to me, because with her I wouldn't be anything. And it bothers me when I see sometimes kids who like have papers and don't work and don't have anything going for themselves, or when I see teen moms who are kind of like, ay, es que no puedo con mi niña, you don't get it, it's too hard. And I get it, we all have our own different problems, but there's always a way. I had no papers, I had no job, I had to go to food banks to get free diapers, I had to go to food banks to get milk, I had to go through WIC, I had to go through everything. But there's always a way. I got my own car, my own place, my own everything for my baby. So if you want to, you can. And that's my thing. It's always been my thing. El que quiere pues. So happy to have a daughter like my Kimmy. I look at her sometimes, and as crazy as she drives me, because she has the same attitude as me, I think I raised her and she's a good girl. Promise I'm never going to be the type of mom that if she does do something stupid, if she does end up pregnant, I'm not gonna kick her out. I'll be there for her. I just want her to know it's not that easy. You know, like, if you want to get pregnant, then I can't help it. I can't be there at all times. I just want her to know my story, to know that it's not that easy. I don't want her to go through the things I did, and I don't regret her one bit. Of course I didn't want to be pregnant when I got pregnant, but if you guys would ask me would I go back and change anything, no, I wouldn't, because it made me the tough woman I am today. And I feel like so many people judge me without even knowing me. There's so many things that I still kept in. Being forced to do things you don't want to do. If you're in a relationship and you're being forced things you don't want to do, and you feel down more than you feel up, if you're being abused, not just physically but mentally, get out of that relationship. And there's other ways. And the thing that will always spite me, I have so many people who judge me, and they literally have told me to my face, ay no, yo prefiero estar con esa persona a que me juzguen, que porque ando con uno y con otro y con otro. I don't care. I will literally rather be with 10 different baby daddies than to deal with abuse again, ever. I will not tolerate that. So if I see you or whoever staying with somebody because por el que dirán, because that's your baby daddy, because that's your husband, that's stupid. Do not stay with somebody because of that. People siempre van a tener algo que decir. Make yourself happy. Make sure you and your family are set, and that's all that matters. I don't even know, to be honest, if I'm going to be posting this video, because I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know if I'm ready to tell you guys. I don't know if I'm ready to just put it out there. But if it does go out there, please take it in a good way. Take those two things. Don't stay in a relationship because of what people might say, and always look into the positives. For Kimmy, when you see this, I just want you to know I love you, princess, and you are the best thing that ever happened to me. You are a gift from above. Happy birthday, my baby. You will always be mommy's baby. I don't really even know how to close out today's video, but I would appreciate it if you guys could please subscribe. Thank you guys.